All right, they've cut off Corelink's email, which we were very efficiently using to communicate about all kinds of details. If I say I'm very disappointed they cut off my Corelink's email, it'll just give the bastards something to smile about. So anyway, I got a letter in the U.S. mail from Schaeffer today, and the subject is inversionary projections. And we'll just read it. Hi. I wanted to point out something that I have picked up on as a highly consistent pattern with this government. I don't know a name for it, so I'll give it one. Inversionary projections of guilt. It is a process whereby the government accuses some innocent person of doing or plotting to do horrible things that the government itself is actually guilty of doing. It is inversionary because the government accuser turns reality upside down and claims the exact opposite of the truth. It is a projection because they pin blame on some innocent scapegoat, and feelings of the government's own guilt is what drives them to obsessively engage in this ritualistic pageantry. It is not unlike the Roman crucifixions or the celebration of another's condemnation that soothed the weak, self-loathing mobs that filled the Colosseum. Those who cheer for death and torture do it because they know in their hearts that they are in fact the ones who deserve to be torn to pieces. There is invariably a tremendous amount of pent-up anxious rage that churns inside one who is made in the image of a just God, but nonetheless lives by the Luciferian ethic of might makes right, and do whatever you think you can get away with. This person knows in their subconscious spirit that they are at odds with the supreme judge of the universe, and that their dreadful day of reckoning is coming sooner or later. This literally drives them mad. They feel a momentary respite from the inner torment as they watch an innocent one cry out in pain under an undeserved punishment. The spirit of these devilish people knows that they needed to be redeemed by the sacrifice of one who was holy and blameless. They know that the sacrifice has been made once and for all. They also know that it was not made for them, but for the elect. These lost and angry souls have no hope of redemption. They never did. They never can. It was written long ago. Going through the motions of crucifying innocents and projecting their guilt onto another will not cure the fact that they are excluded from God's love and His redemptive plan. But it's all they have, so they hunt down God's people, tear them to pieces for a public spectacle, feed them to the lions of time, and hurl accusations that grow from the guilt that blackens the accuser's own heart. It is all to no avail. But mimicking what they cannot have, one to make the consequences of their sins, is all they have left to do. This takes place on both the micro and macro scale. If you look for it, you will see it, and it will help you understand the true nature of the conflict we are in. My case is only a small glimpse of the bigger ceremony of injustice that is this present age, but it is nonetheless quite illustrative of my point. Take these few examples. Number one, the drug trafficking cops in Alaska plotted to murder me to fix the Schaeffer Cox problem. The Fort Wainwright MPs got wind of it and came and warned me. The U.S. Attorney charges me with plotting to murder federal officials, even though the evidence shows the opposite to be true. Number two, the feds pay no attention to the law, do whatever they want, never get prosecuted, and then rub it in everyone's face. From spying on us, to illegal wars, to importing drugs and pimping toddlers, to shooting people on the street for sport, it's all illegal and it just keeps on going. The counter to two. The feds accuse me at trial of wanting to set myself above the law. Number 3, the feds light buildings on fire in Waco and shoot little children as they try to run out. The counter to 3, the feds get liars for hire to take the stand and say what I was plotting to set homes on fire and shoot little kids as they run out. Number 4, the feds in Anchorage run a child prostitution ring out of the Ocean View house. They destroy countless lives in the process. OCS, Office of Child Services, supplies the pets for these sex parties. The counter to 4, the feds file a bogus complaint saying Marty and I and our big loving God-fearing family are neglecting our 1.5-year-old son Seth. So we have to give him to the perverts that run OCS. Number 5, the feds are building bunkers, buying bulk ammo, planning for a huge civil war, building militarized police forces, and publishing manuals that say that veterans, gun owners, Tea Parties, conservatives, Christians, and pro-lifers are the enemy. The counter to 5, the feds claim at trial that because I own a safe full of guns and believe in the original and plain meaning of the Second Amendment, that proves I am obviously plotting to murder the government. Number 6, the feds lie to the jury about everything. They say I was not leaving, that I did not reject Fulton's pushes for violence, that I did not say we need to pull a Gandhi, that Fulton did not attack Les with a knife, that R.J. Olson was not a thief and a liar, and on for 6 weeks. The counter to 6. The feds suppress their own recordings that show the truth, and then Prosecutor Scrocky gets up there in his closing arguments and lists off all the truths. I said that he knows are true and tells the jury that I'm lying. Then the judge backed up Scrocky and said I was lying. This after he had just read the truth in black and white in the sentencing memo that was filed under seal so the public could not see it. Number 7. The feds destroyed 4 families, bankrupted 16 people, blew $18 million in taxpayer money, deceived all of Alaska, and sent innocent people to prison for basically life. Also, the feds could keep committing crimes undetected. The counter to 7. The feds claim to the jury and to the press that I only think of myself and do not care about people or the good of my community. Number 8. The feds run a psych warfare unit in every state that rigs elections, sends out plants like Aaron Bennett and Bill Fulton, uses the NSA to get dirt on public officials and blackmail them, floods the airwaves with propaganda disguised as cop drama, TV shows, teaches kids in schools to be submissive, mindless slaves, poisons the food and water so people will be dumb and compliant, blocks international news, tells us we are worthless, hapless weaklings who need the government to survive, and then sends us the bill for all of it and puts us in prison if we can't pay. The counter to 8. They call me a master manipulator. Number 9. The only reason the feds haven't killed off every thinking person that poses a threat to them and their crime syndicate is because they can't pull it off right now. The counter to 9. At trial, they argue to the jury that it doesn't matter that I said no to violence because I would if he could, because he would if he could. Number 10. The feds put out this spit-shined image to the public like they are the guardians of the people's justice. The attorneys are all sworn to keep the truth a secret and uphold the illusion that the system is fair and just. The counter to 10. The FBI goes around to everyone I know and sits them down and plays, "You may think you know Schaeffer Cox, but you don't. Let us tell you about the real Schaeffer Cox, the bad Schaeffer Cox." Number 11. All these power-crazed feds are on a collective, self-worshipping, delusional bender. It's obvious they are completely detached from reality. Just look at our House and Senate and the whole D.C. quagmire. The counter to 11. The judge has some quack shrink pronounce that I'm nuts and suffer a collective political delusion because I think the government is a corrupt joke. Number 12. There has never been a government in the history of man that has gotten this far and been able to reverse their fall and avoid collapse. This government has no redeeming social value. The counter to 12. The sentencing recommendation for me said that I need a 35-year sentence because I was not able to change and had no redeeming social value. 13. Drug trafficking state trooper Ron Wall posted snipers outside my house during the investigation. They watched me and my family through rifle scopes from the wooded line 100 yards away as we went about our normal life at home. The counter to 13. In a letter to the judge asking for a long sentence, Ron Wall said, Schaeffer Cox is a coward and the kind of guy who would shoot me from a wood line rather than talk to me to my face. An accusation that specific, that had no behavior on my part whatsoever to justify it, can only be an inversionary projection of guilt. Ron made a confessional accusation. Now watch for other born-again party members to do the same. You'll see it done all the time. Schaeffer Cox.